Hello everybody, this is Narrative Tarot. Welcome to your Uranus March 2021 tarot reading. Comment, like, subscribe for more content. I do planet readings and I do them on a monthly basis. So planet readings are if you feel like that specific planet has significant transits or aspects in your natal chart or just right now. And so we're doing Uranus. So if you have any significant transits for Uranus, any significant placements, aspects in your natal chart, or your transit right now, or you have significant Aquarius transits, placements in your natal chart, this will most likely be where you need to be. So there's that. I do other readings, discussions, talks, book reviews, things like that. So subscribing really keeps you in the loop for that, and it helps you. So know when I'm up and running. Okay, so we're gonna do two readings here. The first is gonna be with the Phantasmagoric. I cannot say this, but yeah, Phantasmagoric, I believe, Theater Tarot, and then there's a second part. So I will say for Uranus is in Taurus right now. It's in a fixed sign, which actually is kind of okay because Uranus is fixed. It's too many. Okay. Okay, so we have the upper world and the lower world, and each pair generally is its own story, but it could be a larger whole story. So yeah, we have the King Cups with the Four of Swords. So overindulging in like sweets and tea time could be really detrimental for you. It's almost like an avoidant personality. So you could be a King of Cups, you could be a water sign, whatever. It's just being avoidant. So with the King, you need to make decisions. Now, how you make decisions, how you set up your space to make decisions, the ritual you go to make decisions is what you need. Don't, with this Four of Swords, be chained to having to have it though, because you may be in situations where you need to actually just make a fucking decision. And that means that, you know, if you're trying to make a decision but the lighting is off or you don't have your special incense, it's not in yet, things like that kind of make you come off as very wishy-washy, demanding, but like also incompetent because there's a perfectionist element about you that like people don't get or understand. So don't make it so if you don't get these things or you don't have these rituals that suddenly all of a sudden like you can't do anything, because people are going to see you as kind of like weak and very fastidious in that your mood changes according to the environment. So like if you're somebody who's really affected by environment and very affected by your process, like if your process starts to get fucked with, then like maybe like work on that, get the bare essentials of what you need and then have those around. So either have a portable tea set in your car or just something like that. Like if you smoke or something like that, have your cigarettes and stuff like that, you know, because the last thing the world needs from you is you freaking out because you don't have that at a really crucial time when decisions affect other people. You're like, I don't have this, so I can't do anything, because people are just going to think you're an asshole, even if like it's a legit reason, this could actually be bringing out some sort of like mania or some sort of addiction or some sort of dependency on a specific thing. So like you could need to have a drink, or you need to have a smoke before a big decision, or need to eat a certain food or dress a certain way. Like there's something about ritual that becomes almost buffoonish with this sort of energy, right? It's not really respected. And also because you're using it so much, it's not respected. So like ritual is something that you can do like generally the fewer times a day or a year you do it, the more meaningful it is, because you're meant to check in or whatever after a certain period of time. But if you're someone that's doing it like multiple times a day, that's an issue, and that's more of a dependency. So if you smoke a cigarette before your ritual, this is an example, it doesn't really have to, but you smoke a cigarette that's finely rolled from, this awesome exotic ass paper, these really, really high quality buds or whatever. Like if you do that multiple times, you just have an addiction. Like that's what it is. It's not even a ritual anymore. It's just a fucking addiction. And with the King of Cups, you might want to call it like fancy things, like I'm getting in the zone, and rituals like, no, you're addicted. That's it. You're addicted. And you need to get to the bare bones, and you need to get honest and real about what you do and do not need as far as ritual. Like an entire process. So it can be your creative process, it could be your dating process, it could be any process. It's just, you need to get more real about it. I got some water. So just making sure. And then also, with Four Swords, not chaining yourself to this, but also having something. If it becomes too stagnant or unproductive, like it's not a staple for you anymore, and you need to just change it. You know what I'm saying? Like Uranus is in Taurus, is in a fixed sign, which actually helps you see through that transformation, or it can help you see through like staying the same. The choice is yours. Next we have Death and Ace of Swords. So if you're trying to kill something, the Ace of Swords may not be the weapon that you need. So choosing the right weapons to destroy things, choosing the right weapons to cut off things is important. Choosing the right weapon out of the arsenal and looking at your arsenal. So for this example, the arsenal was your ritual, the ritualistic things, like physical things, and then the process, more so the process. This may be the concepts behind what's going on and the modes of operation that you use, your MO surrounding cutting off people, places, and things. Is that weak? Is that like, is it aggressive style? Is it passive aggressive style? Is it passive style? Things like that. I was watching a recent video about tarot. Is it like more esoteric and intuitive and lends itself to like spiritualism, or is it more psychology? For this, it definitely would behoove you to get into that as far as psychology of yourself. And I think Venus and not Venus, a Venusian sign and a because I have Venus in Taurus, a Venusian sign, which talks about possibilities and materialism and things like that. In Uranus, you're going to see a shift in that. and you'll see a shift in what you perceive to be beautiful, what you perceive to be a beautiful way of being, I guess. I'm going to do a video on that because that's something that's coming up that I noted before this video. But choosing the best weapons in your arsenal, making sure you even have an arsenal, the idea of the concept, having an identity perhaps around this. So if you don't know how you handle things like conflict and stuff like that, you don't have to tell other people like, I'm an aggressive style, or I'm an assertive style, or I'm a passive style. You don't have to say that, but I think mentally noting with this death card how you, like, I feel like the death is kind of more like the shadow, not shadow self, but just it's in the background. It's not noted like outright, but it's known. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know it's there. So making sure you know that it's there and you know what it is helpful. You don't have to tell other people that you're an aggressive style. I mean, you can, but I feel like that's kind of everybody else's responsibility to like figure that out. Like, I don't want to be rude, but it's just like, I don't think you should have to go around life with like, hi, my name is Sarah and I'm an aggressive type. I think it's you, through experiencing that person, you actually get to know them. Like, I'm a Venus Pluto person, so and then a 12th house moon, so my moon not opposes, but challenges or squares Venus and Pluto. So it's kind of like understanding body language. I do not have the best aspect with that, but what I can say is being aware enough that there is a such thing as body language, that there is such way as a parenting style or a love language, knowing that these concepts, I think that's kind of more of what I'm trying to get at here for you, is that if you understand the actual basic concepts or constructs or how they play themselves out, you'll have a better idea of what's in your arsenal if you don't, and that kind of gives you clues as to your identity. And they're saying, now go back and do a 180. So for some of you guys, you're like far, far away from your actual true nature. And I had a thought about that as well when Pluto enters your opposite sign. Something that we generally don't live through, but something that, or Pluto is opposite, Pluto opposite your natal Pluto. Alright, 4 of coins and 6 of coins. So with this, I think with the 4 of coins here, it's like you may be happy to play it small, play it safe, stay in your corner, stay in your house, stay where you are not disturbed. You're happy to do that. Now, one, that could be a big fat ass lie and you really want to get out there, but there's some sort of barrier. Or 2, you with this have no concept of the outside world's attitudes to where you could accurately, I guess, not accurately, but if you don't know that something exists, then you also don't really have the opportunity to have the desire to experience that thing come up. And so if you are sitting with this 4 of coins, you could know that something exists and you choose not to engage because you're repulsed. You could choose not to because you think that that makes you better, particularly if it's something of a darker aspect or a shadow aspect or a taboo aspect. You could also, like I said, be kind of oblivious to the idea that it exists in the first place and be okay. And I think with this like fucking rat right there, that aspect is going to meet you to where there's a window or crack in your identity, or there's an experience, there's a gap, right? Like it's going to catch you off guard. It's going to catch you off guard, essentially, I think. Particularly if this is Uranus, going to catch you off guard. So with this Six of Coins here, it's going to offer you something. Now you need to understand what it is that is being offered, because some of these pieces on here are kind of questionable. So you got like a puzzle piece, you got these toys and like cages, you got coins and stuff like that. Just make sure that you're exchanging things at a fair rate. You're exchanging things that are of the same value. So particularly with Taurus, like, because it's about finances and materialism and stuff like that, just make sure that, like, if something's worth like a gold bar, you know, make sure that it's actually worth the gold bar. Like, make sure it's actually worth what you're giving, you know what I'm saying, what you're paying. So making sure of that, and then making sure that you understand some of the reasons for why you would want to do it, why you want to engage, why you want to be there. With these spikes, just like these right here, with these spikes, I always get crown chakra. I always get like crown chakra and understanding and getting information and receiving psychic information or intuitive hits. And you just have to be aware for this. Like, for some of you guys, you really are in this space where you don't know. It's different than knowing the outside world exists in certain aspects, but just having never experienced it. For some people, it's like you're so uninvolved because you don't know. Like, you don't know, and therefore you're uninvolved. Now, that could be a trauma response where you do know, but you're blocking it out, so you're uninvolved. But for most people, it seems like you don't know and you're uninvolved. And so there's an idea that, like, is gonna come to you to show that it exists. And you might be, with this Four of Coins, actually feeling a little bit of lack about that. Like, you can't put your finger on it, right? You can't quite put your finger on what you're missing. But it's that Six of Coins coming to you to give you a little bit of boost, to show you a concept or introduce you to a concept or how it manifests itself, because it may not be the concept. It may be what constitutes the concept or one of the key components of how it's manifested, but you won't realize what the concept is until later, and it forces you to be active as opposed to passive with that Four of Coins. It forces you with that Six of Coins to be interactive with your world, be interactive with other people and yourself. And for some of you guys, I'm going to say that this is kind of reverse. It's kind of safer for you to be in the Four of Coins than the Six of Coins, because it requires a level of thinking that you may not be comfortable with, and you may not know that you're capable of if you're self-doubting, or you may not even know exists. And for it to exist kind of would fuck your world up a little bit. Okay. So that's that. Now I'm going to use these cards, Pathways. So with this, I'm going to say that there's a lot of information it's almost like there's a flurry of information at the beginning and at the end, and then the middle is you trying to figure your way through it, right? So there's like divine revelations and insights. I don't know about action because I didn't pull cards to go forward, and this to me is more the action right here. This is kind of figuring out the vibrations of stuff. This is kind of getting signals in and things like that. This is kind of escape route or into the future and beyond. But I feel like there's a lot in this ending part where you understand it. So this is there. This is there where there's this spark of inspiration that comes through that's trying to reach various points, is trying to construct you and your path in a way that you meet it. And then when you do meet it and continue on, there's a lot of confusion around you. There's a lot of spiraling. There's a lot of just different thought bubbles coming out, different aspects coming out. So different aspects of yourself coming out perhaps, but just different thoughts about life and how it goes and why it goes and stuff like that. So you guys could be challenging God in the sense. You could be changing positions on things with regards to like religion, because I see this as a Christmas tree for some reason. So you guys might be Christian. You might live where it's very windy. Like you might live where it's very windy but very like cliffs, like overlooking the water and stuff like that. You might live places like that. Places where you can contemplate a lot of stuff, right? Like places you would go and you would have a lot of contemplation, things like that. So I'm thinking of like various places on the British Isles, places like that. Maybe like Iceland, like Sweden, like places where you would stand on a land formation and then overlook the water. That's like the only place. That's the only ones that I really think about. But somewhere where there's rocks and cliffs, and then people like go there and they think about life or whatever. Like that's what I'm getting with this. And it's like it takes an incredible journey for this information to get there. It's almost like the information or the energy itself doesn't reside in this place. It has to travel to you, and it's like by the time it gets to you, it's kind of tired. And because you're like, it seems like the information itself has to go to the farther corners of the world to like reach you, either metaphorically or like actually, to reach you, and then it reaches you, and then you have a time processing it, and it's almost like you have a hard time processing it. So it's almost like the information is kind of annoyed that you take a long time to process it. Because it's like, we have information for you, we have the way for you, like, come on. But this is kind of how it ends up. It ends up being like that, very confusing for you. And so if you're not careful, you'll go on a tangent. You might travel a lot as well. Like, so I would say if you're trying to travel all over the world, finding yourself, you might want to pick a spot. And you actually might need to pick a spot that's very central city as opposed to urban. Because it seems like you're meant to be around people, places, things. And like the where you are, so this is somebody who may be moving. You may be, you need to be in an urban setting. Like, you may live in the countryside, but you need to go move to like another, like a city, and live there, and then the interactions with people will help you with that. So don't be surprised if you get like an opportunity to like move to the city or something like that, because it's something that you need to learn, and it's something that you wouldn't learn until years later. It's like, because you live so far out, and because the energies take so far to reach you, by the time they reach you, significant amounts of time has passed. And what they're saying with that, I'm not getting anyone directly speaking to me, but like, the information that I can gather from that is that if it takes 5 years to get to you, the lesson takes 5 years plus however long you take to really get it. As opposed to, if you're in an urban setting, there's more key players that come and you can meet them, and then you learn that way. And what you learn in 5+ years, right? The 5 years it takes you to meet the person, and then like the 5 years it takes, that's 10. It may take you like 1 year and 2 years, and that's 3, and you've shaved down time, because there's certain things you might need to get in order to get to certain milestones, and if you don't, like, that's an issue for your life path and trajectory. And so you have to shorten the amount of time that it takes for you to get information and process it and then use it, and then look back on it in hindsight and refine and tune it and tweak it and stuff like that. So that's what it's trying to do. It's trying to shorten your time between that, so you don't spend as many years in certain cycles. Okay, I will talk to you guys later. I hope that you enjoyed this March 2021 reading for Uranus. I keep getting this wrong, so I keep thinking, but I hope that you enjoyed this, guys. Take care. Bye.